Hey, Yusuf, what's happening, man? Welcome. Let's put some music on. Spotify. Okay. Just wait for a few more people to show up. We'll just settle in for an evening of rendering, painting, potentially frustration. You never know. Alrighty. Should we do some warm-ups, I wonder? Alright, let's swap views here. Now, I'm just going to be continuing on with this guy, which is me, if you haven't noticed, unless I haven't got the likeness good enough yet, which I think there's a bit of tweaking to be done there. Right. Let's have a squiz. So let's take some of this lighting off here. Now take some of this lighting, some of these effects off. Some of that off, and let's just focus. I'm going to focus on getting the shapes a lot nicer. Like you look at the hat, looks like garbage, if you ask me. So let's get settled in. Haven't done drawing today yet, so it's currently 10 p.m. So I wonder if we should, I don't know, do we do some warm-ups? I do not know. Let's get the brush feeling right. So I'm using Ahmed Outdoori's brush pack today for most things, I think. And today I think the focus is going to be on clean shapes, clear transitions, and consistent lighting. Let's go with that, shall we? So angle jitter, pen tilt, that's what I'm after. And why are you not working? Okay, that's better. Transfer, we want a little bit of transfer. I don't want too much opacity. And we'll turn the smoothing right down. So we're not using anything super fancy, just this brush, even the shape dynamics here. Let's turn it up to that. Okay, welcome everyone. As always, feel free to ask any questions as we go along. I'll be active in chat as always, as all my other previous streams, all 2 of them. My wealth of streaming experience. Prime asks, hey Ben, first time watching you live. How you doing, Prime? Welcome. glad to have you and thank you for stopping by. Hopefully this will be a fun little stream. Feel free to paint along with me. Don't have to paint my face, paint whatever you're painting, or drawing, or sculpting, or whatever. Let's just have some fun with it, shall we? Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I'm going to duplicate this. I'm just going to work on the one layer. So you see the underdrawing there at the moment. See how it changed over time? Sort of push the shapes here and there. We'll be doing a lot of this, flipping back and forth. I want to try not to zoom in and out as much, because just out of as a habit I'm trying to get, and also to stop anyone throwing up on stream, because it could be pretty nauseating, I'd imagine. So I'm also going to be thinking about planes, right? So I'm going to have some fun sculpting some shapes. And as always, as I mentioned before, feel free to ask any questions as we go. What am I trying to do here? Transfer. Yeah, let's do some transfer. We're going to also be using the airbrush. Going to be smoothing out some of these transitions here. I want to make this edge on my cheek a little bit more defined. Now you'll notice here I'm not actually copying the lighting as intense here. I want to think about sort of the lighting a little bit separate at the moment, so that I can add whatever lighting I want on top. And maybe near the end of the stream, I will show you what this is going to be used for. Yes, it's going to be used for my Instagram profile, but I've got another project that's been in the works for a while that I might give you a little sneak preview of, which could be cool. Aleph Deveni, my apologies on butchering the name, but how you doing? Great to have you. Now let me know if you can hear me as well. I'm pretty sure I've got all the settings correct in OBS, but we will see. So we're just going to do some more shape carving here. Really thinking about the strokes that I'm putting down. Ravi, hey, how you doing? Welcome. Good to have you. I have a tendency to sort of go and just start throwing lines in and start throwing strokes in. I want to refrain from doing that in this stream. That's the stream goal, let's say. So really thinking about, is this next line that I'm putting down, is that going to add to the drawing, or is it going to subtract from the drawing? It's one of those things that when I listen to my own advice, it works out well. I'm also going to add some more color variation here because it's looking a little bit dull, a little bit flat. Might even add some pops of some like crazy colors here and there just to sort of liven the thing up a little bit. We will see. One problem I always encounter with my work, so this is prime. One problem I always encounter with my work is trying to make my sketch perfect and being afraid to deviate from it. Break past that prime if you can. It's a process. You'll notice how much my sketch changes, right? You look at this. It's like night and day. It doesn't even look like the same thing. And there's even times before that where it's like different sketches and different, more messy sketches and different sketches. So also don't be afraid to iterate. Do more and more sketches on top and really sort of experiment until you're kind of happy with it. Because you'll notice, I don't know if you've seen any of my time lapses, excuse me, the amount of iterations I go through with the sketching phase is somewhat nauseating, right? So there's no perfect number of sketches to go through, but I would, if your issue is what did you say? You're trying to make your sketch perfect and be afraid to deviate from it. So do you mean when you try to render on top of that sketch? Is that what you mean, Prime? Aleph Deveni, hey guys, enjoy the channel there to help it grow even more so that it can bring more content. Appreciate you very, very much. That means a lot. Hopefully I can give some value, right? We'll have some fun here. We'll learn something. I'll learn something as I do things. And yeah, we'll just have some fun doing some digital painting, digital art, character design, maybe even sculpting in the future. You never know. Ravi, love your art style. Thank you so much, Ravi. That means a lot. Now, apologies if you can hear dogs in the background, just like making grunting sounds. They're noisy bloody things. They're two little Shih Tzus named Winnie and Ollie. So I do apologize if that comes through on the mic. It shouldn't do, but they get pretty noisy sometimes. Yeah, trying to render on top of it. So that's prime. Yeah, look, you'll notice, hopefully this will help. Excuse me, I'm still getting over a bit of a cold. This, I'm painting, I'm not even using the line work at the moment. And it really depends on the style that you're trying to go after, right? Because if you're trying to keep the line work as part of the rendering style, then you kind of do want to get the line work kind of bang on, and it's a little bit of a pain to change afterwards. But if you're doing this more like painterly style over the top, or the more rendered sort of stuff, deviate from it. Like as I said before, look how much this deviated. Look, hold on. Where am I at? Look how much that deviates. Things are pushed and pulled and all sorts of stuff. So, and it's practice as well. Like that sucks, and it sounds like a bullshit answer, but it's just practice pushing through that uncomfortable phase. Because if you're always just going to be stuck in the sketching phase, or just getting stuck to the sketch, it's where I've been before, and it's no fun. So don't be afraid to, or try to work towards this. It's easy just to say don't do this and don't do that, but try and give yourself little challenges. Maybe like, okay, this sketch or this particular piece, I'm going to start with a sketch, get the sketch to where I'm kind of happy, and then I'm going to give myself freedom to just paint on top. If I make a mistake, I make a mistake. The fantastic thing about digital paint is or really real paint even, paint over the top of it. If it's not right, just go through and fix it. We've got infinite go-arounds with this. If that makes sense, without sounding preachy, if you know what I mean. Because I've been there. All right. I want to clean up some of this thinking through here as well. Okay, my deepest apologies. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name, but I'll read your chat message. I have a question. What shading is better, or what should a beginner use? The shading that is on different layers with black multiply overlay, or shading on one layer with blending? I don't know. There's no right or wrong. That's the annoying answer and the fun of it. Try both. There's no sort of right or wrong way. They both have their advantages and disadvantages. You'll notice at the moment that I'm just painting, and you can meld the two together. There's no reason why you can't do both at the same time, right? So I started, if you notice here maybe, or let's say, so I've got the black and white here, right? And then I started to lay over the top some of these color layer modes, right? But then at some point, I ended up just painting straight on one layer. Like this is all just on one layer at the moment. So you can use it as a base. You could use it as from beginning to end, doing the black and white to color multiply sort of thing. It's completely up to you. I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. The black and white to multiply kind of thing, it does take a lot of work. It's not as easy as just doing something in black and white and slapping the multiply or color or overlay layer on top and just calling it a day. There's a lot of this work that I do. I don't think I've actually done one where I don't do work over the top of it with multiple other layers, with normal layers, merging them all down, painting on top of them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully that's not an annoying answer. Aleph, your painting technique is amazing. I appreciate that. Ravi, I heavily focus on line art rather than rendering, and in the end, with the flat colors and basic shading, ruin it for me. In what way does it ruin it? I'd be interested to hear. Because that seems like an art style sort of thing. Like if you've got the flat shading, all right, so here I'm just even squinting my eyes down. That's a nice little tip that I picked up. I believe it was actually from Robin Ellie where I first sort of heard about it. Maybe. He's an amazing oil painter, and he would sort of squint his eyes to sort of check the values, and that can really help simplify things down and really actually show where things are looking off, if that makes sense. Thanks a lot, because I'm doing it just like you said right now. I just needed to know it from a digital artist like you. Don't have any friends who can describe it to me, but now I get it. Thanks. Fantastic. But again, everything that I say is just my opinion. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just what I've found so far through trial and error and testing things out. So experiment. I highly recommend you just experiment, try stuff out, just churn work out, really have some fun with it, you know, and that makes the whole process a heck of a lot easier and more fun. Ravi, it lost the spark in art sometimes. So you've lost the spark in art sometimes. Why's that? Sorry, this bloody cough. Talk to me, what's going on? Why have you lost the spark? So here I'm just trying to carve. I'm just carving with paint at the moment. So I'm thinking about the lighting. It's kind of coming, it's got to be coming kind of at this angle, right? Because we've got the shadow from the hat is cutting off here. I wonder if the shadow down further would look cool. Let's test it out. No harm in trying. Maybe we can test that out. bit later on once I sort of get some of these forms feeling a little bit better. I want this cheek to be more sculpted. Then I can come over and make all the little adjustments with the facial hair and bits and pieces to make it feel a little bit better later on. But I'm not super, well, I've kind of trained myself to not be super precious about previous work that I've done or the time that it took for me to paint that cheek. If it's not feeling right, it's not feeling right. My goal is to get it feeling right. Let's throw some of this, a little bit of color up in here. Let's just, if you don't mind, can I share my art link? Yeah, go for it. Which artists influence your style? Lots of artists, bunch of artists. Off the top of my head, I love me some Max Grecki, or Max Grec. I'm not sure how to say his name. He's fantastic. I love TB Choi. I love JC Leyendecker. Who else? A lot of the old masters like Norman, or like JC Leyendecker, Norman Rockwell. Who else? John Singer Sargent. Bunch of people. Like I want to do a kind of stylized go at like a full stylized kind of character, but in the style of JC Leyendecker. Like a more painterly oil kind of, which is kind of this I get, but not really. Like it's not kind of what I had, exactly what I had in mind. But that, I reckon that'll be a cool thing that I might try and attempt at some stage. I'm sure other people have done it before, but I want to sort of try and put my spin on it, see what I can learn. Renata Rodriguez Souza, I love your job. Thank you very much. That means a lot, and thank you for stopping by. Glad to have you. Can anyone notice I'm awkward with compliments? I hope not. Okay. It's also tricky trying to keep talking while I'm working as well. It's another skill to get better at, especially if I'm doing these live streams more often. Okay, let's take a step back. Let's squint our eyes. Maybe this can be sort of pushed in a little bit more. Flip it, flip it. Another thing as well that might be like unintuitive is flipping it upside down. And that just gives you a completely new perspective, right? And then I'll sort of take a look at it and be like, all right, are these eyes level? Do they make sense? This can also help with rendering as well. Also seeing disparities between the lighting, like with the rendering, like is something not quite looking right. So I might want underneath here to be all in shadow because that's a mass. Mary Jane, welcome. How do you choose the color for the skin? It's honestly just the best guess, right? And then I sort of work up from my best guess. I'm a Caucasian male, so I look at the reference, I look at whatever I'm getting the reference from, I say, okay, I'll choose this kind of color. All right, start laying it down and start adjusting, because you can't really, at least for me, I have a hard time making color adjustments if I don't have anything on the canvas yet, if you know what I mean. Like, color is very relative. So something that looks like warm or cool in one scenario is going to look completely different next to a bunch of other different colors. So I like to just get something on the canvas first. And these colors, I'm not color picking anything. These are all best guesses and shifting. I use a lot of this, the saturation, brightness, hue, right? As I start to tweak things here and there, I'll start to use that a little bit more. Maybe I'll make this a little bit of a softer transition. See how that feels. If I don't like it, I can always come back in and sharpen that line up. Now, one thing that I've learned as well is the transitions between the light and the dark, giving some saturation between them. Right, that brings things to life. It helps muddy colors be less muddy. Does that make sense? You'll notice it also in the photo. Like the transitions, like if you really analyze the photo, the transitions between the light and the dark, there's oftentimes a more saturated edge between those transitions. All right, let's clean up a little bit of this down here. Still not super convinced with the face, but we'll leave it there for the moment. Prime, what kind of lighting scenario do you have in mind while painting this piece? That's a good question. It's kind of a hybrid weird one at the moment. I'm kind of looking at the reference. I'm kind of sort of trying to do my own thing. But at the moment, I'm going from a little bit of a harsher light, maybe. It all depends on the shadows, right? If I soften this shadow right up underneath the nose, and you soften these shadows up, it gives it, and soften this shadow up here, it gives it the appearance of being more of a diffuse lighting setup, right? So but if I keep those shadows harsh, then the light's going to be acting very different. It's going to be more of a harsher light lighting setup. And I don't think I've done it super well at the moment. I think there's some inconsistencies that I need to clean up with the lighting. Because I mean, if we, for example, if we have the lighting, like this is a good indication. This is the shadow of the cap. All right. The light's got to be coming probably at this angle to begin with. Okay, so that's got to carry on through the nose here, and that's got to carry on through the chin. All right, shadow wise, to be consistent. Do I want it like that? I don't know. I don't know quite yet. I might even want to do this. Have the cap throw more of a shadow like that. Maybe, I don't know if that looks silly or not. It gives it more dimension though, something like that, which could be cool, which then brings the angle of the light down, up, brings the shadow down, which then we've got to adjust the nose shadow just a tad, and then we can sort of bring this next shadow down a little bit more. You know what I mean? So it gives it a little bit more depth, a little bit more dimension potentially. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out at the moment. Mary Jane, by the way, I just want to say that I've been following your works and I'm looking forward for new videos here on YouTube. Thank you. Well, they're coming. This is my third live stream in about a week, I think. So this is definitely, I'm trying to build the habit. So starting with live streams, then I'll sort of transition to maybe edited live streams after the fact, just to get the key parts in, and then do them as separate videos. And then I might do full on sort of edited down videos, maybe do critique things, like all sorts of stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. I reckon it'll be good fun. A new frontier to discover, a new game to play. I actually quite like that shadow. Feels, so this is on a multiply layer, right? Cool thing with this new layer, chuck a multiply on top, and it sort of you can then adjust how intense you want it. So let's say we want it maybe about that intense, let's say. Then what I'll do is I'll group that, duplicate that, collapse it all down. Now we're just working on the one layer, right? And let's fold those adjustments that we made into just the single paint layer. And we've got to think about the planes though. How does this hat react to, or this hat shadow, sorry, react to the planes of my forehead? Elliot, welcome my friend. I really want to get good at painting faces, painting in general to be honest, but it's so overwhelming. Any practice exercises for beginners you recommend? Get good at painting faces. First of all, you're talking digital, I'm assuming? I'm trying to give like really targeted advice that helped me. I don't just want to be like, oh, just lots of practice. It's like bullshit. Well, it's not bullshit. It just doesn't really help, because it's like, yeah, no shit, you gotta practice more. Painting faces. I'll get really familiar with the planes of the face. So there's something called the Asaro head, which I've got here. Now you don't have to pick up this guy, right? But the principles here are going to help you sort of paint, because everything with representational painting, I guess you could say, has to do with light and light source and how it reacts to the objects that it's hitting, right? Without the light, you don't see this thing. We see nothing. You don't see me, you don't see anything. So you can study this. So there's a bunch of 3D models online. You can even get images of this on Pinterest and all that sort of stuff. So I would start even just doing black and white value studies of the Asaro head, and it depends on how advanced you are. So you might even need to get good at just painting a cube first, because these are just a lot of like geometric shapes sort of glued together in a way, right? So if you can't understand, say, a simple cube under certain lighting scenarios, I would get really good at that and then slowly transition to more advanced geometric shapes. But without seeing your work or anything like that, it's hard to give you really, really targeted advice. But what's helped me a lot is understanding the planes of the face. Like even here, right? You look, so we've got a light source, a general light source. This isn't a perfect sort of light source, but say the light source is coming down this way, right? The more perpendicular that the plane is to this light source in general, in this particular situation, the brighter it's going to be. That's why you can tell the difference between this plane here. So like my sort of, what's this called? Glabella, I believe, in between here. Why you can tell the difference between this and this. And if we do throw it to black and white, you can see there's a value difference, right? So all this still holds up. If this didn't make sense in black and white, the color doesn't matter, really. Like it really doesn't matter unless the understanding of values is there. I'm not saying that you have to start with black and white. You can just go straight into color, but just the idea of values. And this is darker than this, and this is darker than this, but this is lighter than this, and that kind of stuff. It's trying to get familiar with why these things are happening. I think that could hopefully point you in the right direction without having a look at your work and that sort of stuff. I also love your Instagram and enjoying the live stream. Fantastic, Elliot. That's really good to hear. Hopefully you get a little bit and have some fun watching me paint, play, and sometimes struggle. See, because if you simplify this, right, you've got me going now. So because I think about this stuff a lot, right? If you simplify this nose, for example, just into a box here, right? We can simplify this. So there's a side plane. All right, and I'm just grabbing the values that's here. And maybe there's a plane underneath here. All right, this is essentially what I'm thinking about with the nose. But there's nuance. There's different levels of how perpendicular the light is, the object is to the light. So there's going to be different transitions. So this is a very hard transition here. But, hold on, I'll just flick the canvas because the brush is acting weird. So if I go through and I do a soft round brush and I just soften this edge up, right. Now this then looks like it's somewhat rounded. You can make it even feel more rounded if you mess around with the silhouette. So then if we come here and cut this off, and make that kind of a rounded sort of shape, and then if you came here and then made this underplane, maybe this plane might be a little bit darker, for example. What's going on with this brush? Yeah, so we do the plane underneath here. We round this corner off even more. See, now we've got like a rounded thing versus like a really hard lined cubey looking thing that we had before. And it's all the steps in between that. So we've got this hard line between the nose here. There's a real like crease. But then you've got kind of a step down here, and then you've got a smooth transition, a gradation, let's say, on this shape. Right, and then you can render this to your heart's content. You can go to the extent of getting the lasso tool, really sort of getting this shape outlined and getting this gradient really nice and smooth. Right, and then we zoom out and it sort of still reads like a three-dimensional object, if you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully that made some sense. Yeah. But it's the interesting thing, like the subtleties of this, like how do I make sure that this nose shows up clearly against this cheek, particularly if they're at a similar angle. Got some ideas for this that I'll play with soon-ish, some potential solutions to that, but for now we'll just go with this. Now, another little thing I like to do, say where we've got the shadow here, as I mentioned before, let's just add in like this is getting a little bit nitpicky for this stage, but just a little bit of saturation in here between the shadows. It's probably too much, but there's a scientific reason for this, which I'm not at liberty to, nor can I explain properly off the top of my head. Actually, Marco Bucci has a really good video on this, like why you see saturated colors. Something to do with something called fall off, light fall off, which is very interesting. I highly recommend you go check that one out. Prime Axe, how did you transition from color to black and white so quickly? It wasn't quickly. Oh, sorry, when I like flick this, like this, you mean? Let me know if that's what you mean by transition to black and white so quickly. Elliot, that's super helpful, thanks. Awesome. Okay, I'm doing some noodling. This is what I call doing noodling. I'm just sort of poking around, not thinking too much about the stroke. So I've got to really think about, why am I putting this stroke down? So I'm going here. This should be darker in this crevice of my eye socket. Yeah, so this is a hotkey that I've hooked up with Command Y. Now there's a YouTube video I would recommend without stopping the stream because it's a bit of a process, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there is a YouTube video showing how to, I think it's an image mode. It's one of these things. I can't remember it off the top of my head because it's a while since I put this shortcut on, but it's a keyboard shortcut that you can connect to a function within Photoshop that you can just sort of swap. I believe it's either an image mode or some, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it would take a little bit too long at the moment to sort of dive into. But yeah, it's definitely on YouTube. If you YouTube like Photoshop grayscale shortcut, something like that, you can sort of set it up yourself. It's not super hard to find, I don't think. Matthias, apologies for butchering your name if I have. Hi Ben, first time here. Does your Gumroad tutorial come with the brushes you use or talk about the brushes needed? 100% it talks about the brushes needed. There's no brushes that I've created. I mentioned that I use Ahmed Aldori's brushes, which is free on his Gumroad, so you can check him out. I also do use Max Greg's brush pack. They are paid, but I show like an equivalent of what you can use, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's actually a page in the PDF field guide that sort of goes over that, and there's a video in there as well, I believe. Or it's a part of one of the videos at the beginning where it talks about that. So yeah, it talks about the brushes, but it's kind of the least important thing out of anything there, I think. But I knew people would ask for it, so I threw it in there. It's art by Tomas Buendia King. Not entirely sure what that means. Someone can translate that. It's art by Jay. Hey bro, you're a legend. One of my biggest inspiration. That honestly means a lot. Thanks so much, Jay. That really, really means a lot. Thank you so much. Hopefully I've helped you with some of the content I've been putting out. And thank you for the support, because this actually helps me solidify concepts, if that makes sense. So the more that I can sort of spend time explaining things, it helps me get better as well. So that's awesome. Random Ferret, welcome. Hello Ben, glad to catch the live this time. I've been a long time follower on Instagram, and your ability to show form and simplify shapes is amazing. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. You guys are fantastic. Thank you very much. That means a lot, but it's something I've definitely developed from a lot of other awesome artists out there. So definitely go check some of the people that I talked about out. Prime, oh nice. I'm going to check it out. Sweet. Matthias, thanks, no worries. Dennis, bon dia means good morning. Good morning, Tomas. Great to have you. And thank you, Dennis, for the translation. Appreciate it. Okay, no noodling. Stop. There's a noodle-free zone. I have to make decisions and think about what's going on. So, okay, we're getting ready to zoom out. Think about the light source. Random Ferret. By the way, what's your approach to value groupings? How do you measure what will be your darkest dark and your lightest light? That's a good question. It really depends on the painting in question. If I'm relying heavily on reference, I will base it off of the reference. Like if I was going one-to-one with this reference, I would say, okay, I would group these, like I would squint my eyes and I'd look at underneath the cap here, a bit of the hair, maybe the side of the cap, and all underneath here is like one value grouping. So like that would probably be my darkest darks, even under the nose, and probably the eyes. Like if you squint down yourself, you probably see what I'm talking about. And then I'll do the same for the lightest lights. But here, because I'm kind of inventing the lighting and the shapes, and using only this as a reference, as a guide almost, I'm thinking less so in value groupings. I might do that a little bit as I go, but I'm more thinking about the light source. Right, I'm thinking that the light source is coming down in this direction, and how is that going to affect these shapes that I've put down, if that makes sense. Like for example, there's like a ledge on the eye here. Or there would be a ledge. So this ledge is going to be a little bit lighter. Same with this one. I've always kind of struggled with controlling contrast. I'd actually take a look at some old masters like oil paintings, like your JC Leyendeckers. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his name, but I got one in mind. And you actually see how they tile. I'll do this thing called tiling, where they'll just kind of get a shape here and just tile it out. Then they'll look at their next value and they'll tile that out. And then they'll tile this, and then they'll tile this, all right? That's a really good way to break down the values, right? It's like quite digestible. Might even be something that I need to do here, just to sort of simplify things, because I've got a lot of these scratchy lines here. It's not a bad thing, but it's just see if we can simplify some of these shapes and my thinking. Sugar beets, welcome. This is looking amazing already. Do you ever try other art mediums? I've dabbled, it depends what you call an art medium. I've dabbled in digital sculpting. I've dabbled in oil painting. I have done the old pencil on paper trick when I was younger, but I've predominantly done digital for a very long time. But the cool thing is, a lot of these principles that I'm trying to teach myself and share with others, they cross a bunch of other disciplines, like value, form, shape. That crosses over into sculpting. That crosses over into oil painting. You can even go to the extent, right? What I did when I did more sort of realistic, because I started off in realism, like with digital stuff, even more like I would just try and copy the photo one-to-one and just get good at that. I would even mix, quote unquote, mix paint. So say, and we can do this here, right? Say if I wanted to redden up this area of the nose, what I'd do is I would actually even start. So I actually got this from Jason Seiler, phenomenal caricature artist, right? He does phenomenal art. Great comedian as well. He started to do comedy, so go check him out. Really, really cool guy. Never met him myself, but he seems cool from what I see online. But he actually does this thing where if you were going to do a painting just using like a limited palette, let's say like a blue, a red, and maybe like a yellow, something like that. You can pretty much make any color, and maybe we grab like a white. You could kind of mix a lot of these colors. So say if I wanted to get something similar to this, I haven't done this in a while though, so this might not turn out. So you get something similar to this skin tone. I'll grab this red, a little bit of this white, and just using the opacity, I'd start mixing. Maybe add in a little bit of this yellow, a little bit more of the red. Right. And I just go back and forth doing that. The cool thing about this is it's very similar to oil painting, and you actually keep quite good color harmony doing it this way. It takes quite a while, particularly if you don't have like sort of the intensive colors. Like he explains it really, really, really well when he did it. But it was just like a different way of doing it. And this crosses over. This actually helped me when I started to dabble with oil painting. I didn't touch oil painting until after the sort of digital stuff. And this actually really helped because the principles are the same, values are the same. But yeah, it would take a lot of finessing and tweaking, and we might even dabble with some of that stuff. Having a play around with it at some stage on another stream, maybe another video. Sugar Beats, your stuff is always so organized. Oh my god, that way of mixing colors is so smart. I always struggle with oil paint mixing. Yeah, I struggled with it as well. It's really a game of like nudging, right? Like, okay, and like comparison, I find. And I brought a little bit of that into what I was talking about before. Is like I find it hard to judge colors or get the right color straight away. I need to have something down and start moving it like one way or another. You should try to do a painting. Yeah, I think that'll be good fun. I'm not opposed to that. Takes a long time. I wouldn't be good at it to begin with, but I think it would be a fun little experiment to sort of pick up again. I found it really, really fun. Shruti, hello. How you doing, Shruti? Welcome. Snowfix, great to see it. Wait, have you said hi already? Or is this your first time popping in? No? Welcome again, Snowfix. The volume is good today. Fantastic. I'm learning. I'm a fast learner. Random Ferrer, I've always thought how difficult it must be for classical painters back in the day. Imagine not having the square brush joke. Well, they have like this is like 6-inch brush, or like the 8-inch, like they've got this like 4-inch sort of chalky or like blocky brush that they use, which gets a similar kind of thing. Sugar Beats, I feel like since you've gotten good at digital, that any traditional mediums will be cool. Yeah, it'll be cool to actually do like a stylized thing, maybe in oils. That could be good fun. But for real, the dedication it must have took for them to master painting it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Like if you've ever seen some of these oil paintings in real life, like in like an art gallery or museum, I just sit and look at them for hours. Like there's so much technique and just craftsmanship in it. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Sruthi, your edges are really clean. Why, thank you. They're going to be cleaner soon. Need to get these clean these right up. Now this is a point where I can make a stylistic choice, right? I can either come through and carve this cheek right out and have this as like a hard line, or I can sort of round it out. I might do maybe like a half-half kind of deal. Right, now there's going to be a transition here. If that light's coming in here, right, it's going to be coming kind of front on. I feel like this is going to be darker in here, so let's darken this up. In here, and transition that out a little bit. It's going to be a little bit of a transition from the cap, maybe. Yeah, this is a kind of ambiguous spot at the moment. This eyelid, or this sort of eye socket. Sorry. If I can clean this up, I think that's going to really help it, I reckon. Right, because we've got a slight value shift, let's say. So this rolls into the shadow over this side of the face, right? This is going to be a plane. I'm going to make this a plane here. Right, and this is going to be a plane. I'm going to attempt to at least. Flip it. Yeah. Not entirely sure about that. Yeah, maybe we do it more like that. Maybe, I don't know. There's some consistency issues here. But we will work through them together. Jay, it's art by Jay. What would you say is the best way to learn stylizing your portraits? I've been more of a realism artist, and these type of stylized portraits interest me, but I have no idea where to start. I've got a lot of thoughts about this, and coming from experience, being predominantly a realistic background, you've got to kind of divorce yourself from the reference. You've got to put it through the shapes that you see, put them through a stylistic lens, and think about inventing the shapes more so than relying too heavily on the reference, if that makes sense. Like this cheek, if I color picked here, if I copied this reference right here, like it doesn't translate. What I've done is I've learned how to take a realistic reference, translate the shapes, right? Simplify them down. So for example, my eyes, they're like this half dome basic shape, if you think about it like that, right? Right, my nose is kind of this, like really simplifying it down now, right? It's got this sort of wing, right? So I'm putting it through like a stylistic filter, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to rely less on the reference and more so what I'm observing shape-wise. And then understanding that, yeah, you're inventing the shapes. You're not relying on the, like 100% on the reference. Because if you start sort of playing with that line between like studying too close to the reference and then stylization, you get this weird like middle ground, which I call it the stylistic no man's land, where it's kind of looks like the person, kind of doesn't, kind of looks painterly, kind of looks stylized, but it just looks kind of weird. I've been there many times. Some call it the ugly stage. I call it the awkward stage or the ugly stage. But it's something that I've recognized through doing more stylistic stuff is, yeah, you've got to put it through a different lens and rely less and less on the reference and more on your ability to break shapes down. If that makes sense. That's a very, I'm saying things, please let me know if they don't make sense, because it's just sort of my experience. And if there's a different way I can try and explain it, I will try and explain it that way. Snowfix Art. You take inspiration from Aaron Blaze. He also streams every week, and he normally has things planned to do throughout the stream. This way people stay throughout the stream. Yeah, that's a good idea. You should take inspiration 100%. These streams at the moment, like the thing about me, I'm like I'm really into sort of understanding, like building habits, right? And building skills and learning how to sort of learn things, like understanding learning. Now, that sounds fantastic in theory, and that's my gut instinct, is to like plan things out and try and structure things and that sort of stuff. But what I've learned, at least for myself, is to just get started. Get started with something. And that's how I started with Instagram. I started with 20 minutes a day in the morning, right? This was only a year and a half ago I really started doing Instagram stuff, right? Start with 20 minutes a day, but just keep the consistency there. That's what I'm doing with these live streams. The end goal with these live streams is to really keep doing the live streams, but transition into YouTube videos. So with each stream, with each sort of week that I do it, the win for me is that I did it, right? And as I go, as I get more proficient, as the habit sort of sticks, then we'll be doing segments. I'll be making this as entertaining as possible, because I believe that this sort of stuff is best. I guess you get the most quote unquote success, whatever that looks like to you, if it is entertaining. So yeah, I've got to figure all that stuff out 100%. But at the moment, me doing these live streams is, I'm here for building that habit, just like with any other skill. But yeah, definitely Aaron's fantastic. I'll definitely take a leaf out of his book with the streams. Shruti, any suggestions on brush settings? I'm new to Photoshop and I find it hard in transitioning the two edges. Like the brush strokes just appears as layers and doesn't smudge. All right, let's see if we can figure that one out. So make sure in the brush settings, let's say, you've got some opacity, right? With the pen pressure. That's always good. Now, how I blend these colors here, I don't know, there's no smudge tool yet. I might use smudge tool, I might not, right? So what I'll do is, say if we wanted to blend this red with this color, right? What I'd do is I'd pick this red color and I'd just start laying over ever so slightly into this pinky color. Then I'd color pick that red color and go back and forth between the two. And you see how we've got a gradient here. Right? That's how I blend, at least at this stage, if I'm doing this more painterly stuff. Another way to blend is doing the same thing but with a soft round. You can do the same principle, right? That gives you a lot softer. It's really the color picking your own colors and sort of getting that really smooth transition. You can also use the smudge tool. I find the smudge tool is more of a time saver than something to lean too heavily on, personally, because you can quite easily make it look really smudgy really quickly. There's got to be kind of at least for my taste, there's got to be a balance between like hard edges versus soft edges. Like this here, I'm looking to make this a real sort of like scoop of like this kind of edge of the eye socket. So I'm looking to transition this pretty steadily. Right, but then here I've still got this hard edge of the cheek, or the semi-hard edge, depending on how I want to address this shape. Right? If that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Shruti, I'm a Snowfix, are you a traditional painter? Shruti, I'm a digital artist. I use Procreate and now switching to Photoshop, and I really feel the difference in painting. Ronan Ferret, will you ever do a critique session here on YouTube with the viewers? 100%. I reckon that'll be good fun. I want to get better at explaining what I'm thinking, and if I can help along the way, that'll be really cool. So I think for that sort of stuff, I've got to figure out Discord and this and that. That's my next step, to sort of start a Discord and all that fun stuff. I actually created a Discord before the stream, but I've got fucking no clue what I'm doing with it. So I'll figure that out before next stream, I reckon. And then that'll be open for people to start popping in and chatting, and then we can maybe start playing around with some critique sessions. I reckon that'll be good fun. Sugar Beats, it makes sense. Sugar Beats, what movies, TV have you been watching lately? Mythic Quest. Freaking love that show. I don't watch too many things, to be perfectly honest. I've actually just with my partner, we've rewatched The Office. And just finished that again recently. Love The Office, that's fantastic. But Mythic Quest, I freaking love that show. It's got a very, I don't know if anyone's seen Silicon Valley. Such a Silicon Valley, but game development Silicon Valley kind of feel to it, which is great. But yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of stuff, to be perfectly honest with you. What about yourself, Sugar Beats? So this is an example of a really delicate transition, let's say, that we want to think about. So the light's coming from this way. It's going to hit this lid. It's not going to be super light necessarily, because it's at a different angle, say, than this nose. Right, but then it's going to transition down. Right, it's always good to, if you've got a shape, that generally I like to have some sort of gradation or transition, which can help the realism, or quote unquote realism, or make it feel more alive, I guess you could say. Let's have a look. What movies? Alice Draws, welcome. Hey Ben, how are you doing? I'm doing very well. How are you doing, Alice? Snowfix Art. Speaking of Instagram, my account just got suspended out of nowhere, and half of my clients come from Instagram. Oh shit. So that sucks. So at least, is it suspended, or is it like, are they giving you a time frame as to when you can sort of come back? That really sucks. Was it to do with some of the stuff that you posted? Because it can be pretty pretty hard-lined with what they allow and what they don't allow. Sugar Beats, I had to take a break from Insta and TikTok. Way too addicted. Yeah, the algorithms. They know their stuff. Those developers. They know what they're doing. Shruti, thanks for the smudge technique. I'll definitely try them. Awesome. Yeah, that'll be fantastic. Let me know how you go with them. Alice Draws, don't know if someone already asked, but do you think that YouTube is better than Twitch for art streams? From the creator side of things, like from the streamer, my theory, my very uninformed theory, I guess, or the way I see it, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, right? People are more likely going to find this stream than something that's on Twitch, I believe, at least at this stage. Twitch doesn't really have any search function. What I can then do with these YouTube videos is cut them up, or later on, as I believe Snowfix was sort of alluding to, like Aaron Blaze does sort of segments and things that he's going to work on. I can then do those segments, for example, on a stream, easily cut them up. Like if I do them in a certain way, I can cut them up then to a normal YouTube video, and then link those two videos to sort of say, okay, here's a clip from the stream. Go and see the next like go and see the full stream if you want to, if that makes sense. So from a business side of way of thinking about things, I think it's a lot better. But I've only just started, right? I think I've only done 2 other streams on Twitch as well beforehand. So it's, but this is where I think it makes a lot of sense from that perspective. Snowfix, did you watch Office UK or Office USA? The Office USA. I know that might be blasphemy to some, but I much preferred the Office USA. It was fantastic. And what I was thinking about this the other day. What is that feeling you get at the end of a TV show? It's not sadness. It's just this weird, like, empty feeling. I don't know what it is, because I can go back and watch it again. It's not like it's over forever, right? But it's a weird feeling. I don't know how to put a finger on it, or like what you would call it. It's weird. I don't know if I like it or not. Elliot, have you seen Arcane? I haven't. No. That's definitely something on my to watch list. Okay. Sugar Beats, I love anything with sci-fi and time travel. I watch it a lot while doing art. Oh, cool. Very cool. Time travel trips me out. Like if you actually hear about, like, if you ever listen to podcasts, I probably listen to more podcasts than watch things, if I'm honest. If you listen to like physicists talk about like theories of like potential how time travel could work, maybe, whoa, that'll keep you up at night. It's freaking awesome. Thanks, Ben. That absolutely makes sense. Cool. Snowfix. Twitch is definitely better for streaming. Big Twitch streamers advise that it's better to build a following and Instagram or YouTube and then bring followers to Twitch. Interesting, because there's nothing saying that I can't Twitch on both at the same time, so that's a cool insight. But yeah, as I said, I'm new to this and willing to learn. I am a student of streaming and long form videos, and yeah, gonna have some fun with it. Actually, I wonder if this is going to be lighter here. Yeah, that makes more sense. No. Let's have a look. Snowfix. Random ferret. That's called the infinite void. Yeah, feels like it. I tell you what, it's a horrible feeling. Nexty68. Welcome. Great to have you. Snowfix, because it's almost impossible to get started on Twitch alone. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, I guess. The getting started part. I think Twitch has like different, like better tooling potentially, like tools to actually do the stream, maybe. But I don't know. But this is kind of what I've heard. But to actually grow, which is sort of the plan, I guess. To begin with, it's yeah, almost impossible. Elliot, yes, I get it. I get it at that feeling at the end of Lord of the Rings every time. Yeah, I freaking hate it. Maybe that's why I don't watch too many things, because of that. I know what's coming, and it's not fun. see if we can shape this chin a little bit more. Nexty68, hope everyone is having a good day. I'm having a good day. I hope you are too, Nexty. I want to ask you, Ben, is there a place we could get the same brushes you are using? There certainly is. It's Ahmed Aldori's brush kit on his Gumroad. Go Google that one and you'll be able to find it. I'm currently using the, what is it? Hard elliptical. Random ferret. But the void we feel is also necessary for life because it makes us strive for something. Otherwise we would all just stop trying. That's very true. You can't have the good without the bad. That's a very good point. Something up with this eye. I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that needs to... angle in a little bit more, maybe. I don't know. Elliot, dude, you got to watch Arcane. It's incredible for the plot, character arcs, etc. But also the art animation is the next level. Yeah, 100%. I've seen the art and animation, and I'm in. It looks sick. Random ferret. Sorry that got philosophical. That's get as philosophical as you like. I don't mind a bit of philosophy. Nexty68, I think sometimes it can be good to be a streamer on YouTube if your content is already there, like videos, shorts and all that. Yeah, that's my thinking. Because I'm starting to sort of do some shorts as well and figure that out. Something up with this eye. This here, this is not feeling correct. So we shall change it. We shall experiment. That scoop back feels a little bit better. Yeah, that feels a little bit better, I reckon. Now, the way I'm judging that is I'm trying to think through if I were to draw, let's say, the wireframe of this, right? I'm thinking about this, right, in 3D space. The eyeball, right? If this is sort of going back like that, then it will go back on this side and we'd see less of it, right? We wouldn't see that much that we were seeing before. That's my thinking behind that. Because that second eye can be bloody tricky sometimes, I'll tell you what. Could even add a little bit of shadow up here on the eyelid. I think that could look nice. Is it technically correct? I don't know. Is anyone going to get the measuring or the ruler out? Probably not. Nexty68, thank you. I will check it. Awesome. Snowfix art. Do you know about Cynics to Design? Do I know about Cynics Design? Do I ever? I've been watching his stuff for a long time. Love it. Amy Kim, found you on Instagram and didn't know you had a YouTube. Only recently have I started posting. This is my third stream in about a week. So welcome. You come in at the very beginning. Amy, very cool stuff. Thank you, Amy. That means a lot. Random Ferret, really having fun with this stream, just drawing alongside it. Awesome. I hope we've got others that are drawing alongside it. Just wondering what got you into art. Most importantly, what made you continue when it seemed impossible? Really want to know your thoughts on this. What got me into art? Well, I've been drawing on and off for most of my life, right? I'm 29 now. So I remember it was one thing that I just really enjoyed. And I did get some like positive feedback when I was quite young. And I think that just kept me going. My art probably wasn't fantastic, but for whatever reason, I just sort of kept going, and I got frustrated. It was more frustration than happiness while I was drawing there for very many years. One of my earliest memories, I guess, with drawing was maybe when I was like 6 or something, maybe a little bit younger. I had drawn a redback spider. All right, so we're here in Australia. We've got this thing called a redback spider. If some of you have heard of it, it's a bloody nasty little spider. Pretty venomous. And I drew a redback spider. Right, I thought it was really good. Came home, showed mum and dad, and they like sort of was looking at it, and they were like, "Oh, that's nice. What is this?" And I was like, "It's a redback spider." I probably didn't give that attitude. I don't think they would have appreciated that. I guarantee you I didn't give that attitude, but I felt it on the inside. I was like, excuse me, it's a freaking redback. What do you think? And since then, I've been trying to prove them wrong ever since. No, not really. But there was that feeling of like, okay, I'm going to try and get better at this then. If you didn't like that, then I'm going to make something better. That's like my first memory of it. But yeah, ever since then, it's actually been on and off. I've gone years where I didn't draw much, and I sort of did music there in high school for quite a bit, and then I sort of picked up drawing again. And yeah, and when it felt like it was impossible, I don't ever think it just felt impossible, because if you think realistically, it's really just a time, practice, but targeted practice, not just practicing, because I can practice and just do this all day, right? It's not going to get me anywhere. But it's sort of targeted practice based on what appeals to me, all right? What stuff gets me excited, and then trying to reverse engineer and figure out, well, okay, someone's done this before. It's figure outable. Most everything's figure outable in my mind. You can figure most things out. So there was nothing that felt impossible, but there were things that felt that they would frustrate the shit out of me because I couldn't figure them out. But it was really just like I don't know. It became more of a compulsion at the end of the day. Like I just felt like, all right, I'll just sit down. Before I started sharing on Instagram, I was just drawing for myself. It wasn't a job. All right, it was just, I would stay up until the wee hours and just keep drawing, just for funsies. But yeah, that's really my origin story, I guess. And then when it came to the Instagram stuff, I decided that I wanted to get better. Like I wanted to jump back into drawing and get better as fast as I could. And a good way to do that is one, to be consistent, and two is to do something called the Feynman technique, which is teach others or try and explain things to others so that the concepts stick in your head more. I was like, all right, I'll give that a whirl and see how we go. If people like it on Instagram, cool, they like it. If not, it's I'm doing it anyway. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of a, like, everything's figure outable. I'm living proof. Everyone's living proof, you know, like the amount of time and focused effort, you can figure out most things. Went on a little bit of a rant there, my apologies. Where are we at? Alright, I'm lost. Where the chat? My apologies. Found you on Instagram. I didn't know you. Yes, really have fun streaming. So yeah, Random Ferret. Hopefully that answered the questions. Sort of what got me into art. Nexty, also want to thank you for all the content you do. It's really beautiful work. Thank you. I really enjoy doing it, so I'm glad that you enjoy it as well. I bought you a pack. You bought my pack and has been helping me a lot with learning and enjoyment of art. That's awesome. The enjoyment of art bit that you said, that's fantastic. And that's awesome to hear. Elliot, yep, drawing along with failed attempts at layout design thumbnails. Scale is a struggle, isn't it? The layout design is something that, yeah, I haven't really dabbled in, but it would be fun to kind of explore. But failed attempts means that you're closer to getting the right thing that you're looking for. Have you ever tried, Amy Kim, have you ever tried other types of art, like animation? Dabbled very, very briefly in animation. Like I did something for a friend, Paladin Amber. She's a Twitch streamer. And I animated her, I did a 2D animation of her character. This was like a year and a half ago maybe. But nothing super involved animation wise. It's something that I would like to do actually. I'd like to really go from like the concepting to sculpting in 3D and then figuring out animation, like rigging and that kind of stuff, to really sort of diversify my skill set and yeah, just have fun sharing what I learn as I go about doing that. Yeah, I think that'll be really, really good fun. Alright, let's flip it. This lid's dipping down a little bit too much. Let me fix that. The bottom lids are a good thing to play around with as well. They really give a lot more energy and life to the eyes, depending on the expression that you're trying to achieve. Elliot, I recently had a pause from drawing for almost 6 months. Just a few sketches here and there, firstly due to life circumstances, changing job and country, but then almost fear, knowing I'd lost skills. It's one of those things, right? It's happened, you've taken the break, but being stressed about it and then not doing anything about it I feel like to stay sharp, you've got to keep consistent, but once you build up a level of skill, you haven't lost it. It's there. It's kind of like building muscle as well. It's a lot easier to get back to a certain level of, say, like your physique or like muscle versus building it in the first place, right? So don't feel down about it. I wouldn't. I'll just say, cool. Hop back on the horse and start small. Get back on it. Don't be too harsh on yourself. And see if you can just have fun with it. Only recently sucked it up and accepted I might suck, but can't get back to where I was and improve from there if I don't face this silly fear. Weird. Yeah, it's a weird one. We're weird creatures. Our brains do weird shit to us, and I don't know why. Frustrates me, but yeah, no, I feel you. Because I've done long stints like that with not drawing. And then you come back and you're not as good as what you remember you were. And it sucks and it's frustrating, and that's with any skill, right? But you can get it back. It's just going to be a little bit of a struggle city for a bit, but you'll be thanking yourself. If this is what you want to do and you want to get back into it, you'll be thanking yourself in a couple of months' time. Guaranteed. I'm terrible at mixing colors. I'm sorry to hear that. What colors are you trying to mix? Because that's a pretty broad topic. How are we feeling this? I don't know, something is annoying me about, maybe it's just my face. Maybe I'm just annoyed with my face. That could be it. Alice draws. I find growing on Instagram really hard, but I also think my art isn't good enough, so maybe it's that. Instagram's a finicky one, right? The way that I've grown is sharing my process and my thoughts and insights and sort of sharing what I learned, basically. I'm not going to pretend to know how to grow purely just with posting art, because I don't believe that's how I grew on Instagram. But it's an effective, at least from my experience, strategy is actually being passionate about something, being really interested, and trying to figure out your way of explaining things, or like giving people a peek inside what you're working on, really. You don't have to come from a point of, this is how to do this. As I've said probably a few times, is you'll never hear me say this is the way to do something, or this is the one and only way to do XYZ, to render, to draw, to do stylization, whatever. It's all like coming from my experience. And once you frame things like that, it's a lot easier to kind of share this sort of stuff, because you don't have to feel like you've got to be at a certain level of art or drawing or painting or whatever. You're just like, hey, this is what I've found. This is what I'm exploring. This is my journey. I hope it's of help. But yeah, I've funnily enough, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I've started a podcast talking about all this sort of stuff with my good friend Francis. It's called Make Now, Think Later. So it's all about the behind the scenes of sort of content creation, my experience with it, what I've learned, my thoughts on it, my thought process, my philosophy behind content creation, my experiments, my failures, the business side, all that sort of stuff. It's a really cool sort of outlet to talk, because I'm really interested in that kind of stuff, like from the business side of things. It really interests me, so it's good to have kind of outlet to let those thoughts fly free. Kind of what I did with my art, really. Random ferret, it did. Thank you very much, Amy. Amy MM. How often do you stream? Well, this is my third stream, so I would say about 3 times a week, because I've done 3 this week. But I'm going to try and aim for minimum 2 times a week, let's say. I think that's an achievable goal, just to build the habit. So I'd love to see you in chat, and I'll try my best to sort of keep up with chat and keep chatting away, because it's fun to actually have people here. Usually I'd just be by myself in this room, maybe music going, maybe complete silence. And if something's going great, it's just by myself and I'm feeling good about something. And if I'm getting frustrated, it's by myself. So maybe it would be cool to actually sort of bring you guys along for the journey. But yeah, I've got to try and figure out the streaming game, make it more interesting. See here, this is a cool thing, right? Even just adding this little kind of value step up here, right? Really delineating that shape. It brings out, if you zoom out, it sort of makes it more 3D because it's using the same lighting logic. Like this is a plane that's kind of curling back up, which is going to be hitting the light, or the light's going to be hitting it. I don't know, I get excited about that stuff, you might not. But I think it's cool. I'm not really thinking, this is a specular highlight here, I'm not really thinking too much about that at the moment. Like you've got the speculars on the eyes, but I think there's some stuff we can do with the specular highlight a bit later on. Do I round that off? No, let's keep it sharp. Let's keep the sharp shapes, I reckon. Alice Draws, yep, I'm following it, and I love your podcast. Oh, awesome, Alice, you're a podcast listener. Fantastic. Thanks, by the way. That's interesting to share the journey. That's awesome. My absolute pleasure. That's so cool. Elliot, where is everyone from here? Well, personally, I'm from Australia, if you can't tell from the accent. Everyone else, I'd love to hear where you're from. Because yeah, it's pretty random time zones that I'm choosing as well. Like I did one at 3 in the afternoon for me the other week, last stream I think. Now it's 11:39 p.m. So yeah, it's all over the shop at the moment. I think this neck, let's clean up this neck a little bit. Hint of the Adam's apple there. Yeah, this actually could help quite a lot, this neck. Just getting it feeling a little bit. Give myself some bigger traps maybe. Been hitting the gym a little bit more. Philippines, Singapore, Italy, Bosnia, Thailand, France. Bloody hell, it's like the United Nations over here. This is crazy. What's everyone working on at the moment? It'd be interesting to hear. Are you sort of drawing? Are you sculpting? Because I saw a couple of people last stream. They were sculpting, doing some digital sculpts. There is something wrong with this side of the face. I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger. I think it could be the actual iris here. It might be too big. Because if we're looking at this eye here, it's like that big. Let's test this out. Iris here. Let's say it's like that big. Move it over. Seems about right, I guess. Maybe it's too far out. This stuff will keep me up at night. Stress me. That's so stupid. Yeah, how do I fix that? I don't want to look boss-eyed though. I don't want to look silly. I'm from Turkey. I like your work, man. Thank you so much. Ogusan Kokatepe. My deepest apologies on that name. That absolute butchering of your name. But thank you nonetheless. I'm doing a Naruto fan art. Awesome. Random Ferret. I bet you can make it to Cynic's level of clout on YouTube. You just need the crazy clickbait thumbnails. Oh, look, that'd be that is something to aspire to, definitely. And we could do some crazy clickbait thumbnails. I've got no problem with that. Maybe that's just the strategy. Just clickbait the living shit out of YouTube. But then behind it, actually give a good stream, so people forgive the clickbait. Ogusan. I don't know how to pronounce it. My apologies again. I'm an illustrator. Fantastic. Do a shocked face right now. That kind of bloody YouTube shocked face. There you go. Screenshot that and put that as the thumbnail. That'll work. Yeah, that'll be good fun. Oh, hold on. We need the scrubby zoom to do that. Mr. Beast style, scrubby zoom. With like captions in the video, like, today we're going to do painting, digital painting of me, my face. Is it going to be any good? Are we going to mess it up? Possibly, possibly not. I'm not going to give out any money, but I could lose hours of my time. Keep watching and I'll give away some tips. It's really not as inviting as Mr. Beast. 7 secrets artists don't want you to know. Yeah, so the ones that I'm seeing all the time on fucking Instagram is like, these 7 websites feel illegal to know. I'm like, okay, that is a weird phrasing. You probably shouldn't be on those websites then. At least have a VPN if you're going on those websites. Yeah, wait till the end where I show you how to digital paint. I guess, yeah. We can have some fun with it though. Like, I'm not looking to be serious. We're like super serious with this stuff. We've got to have fun with it, right? This is the reason why we're painting and drawing. Have some bloody fun. And for the record, I'm using Stream Beats as the Spotify music. This is not my personal music taste necessarily, but it's not going to get me copyright stricken. So thank you for putting up with it. Maybe this goes up a little bit further. All right. Maybe flip it. Oh, I don't know. See, these are the dilemmas that you don't see when you just see the final artwork or the time lapse. It's me going back and forth, stressing. This is a deep as shit eye socket. Does it look silly? Does it not look silly? I think it looks silly right now. But we will see. Wait till the end to find out. Number 7. Artists hate him. Who hates who? I don't think artists hate cynics. I hope you're not. I don't think you're talking about cynics. At least I don't hate him. I've got nothing against the guy. I don't know the guy. Elliot, what is your personal taste? Any recommendation? I'm pretty eclectic, to be perfectly honest. I'll jump from Johnny Cash to Snoop Dogg to Blink-182 to the John Butler trio. Like I've got a very, very eclectic taste. But yeah, it depends what you're in the mood for. I've been on a real Blink-182 kick recently. Like, so nostalgic. Hearing that Tom DeLonge's coming back to Blink-182, it was just like, oh yeah. And I really like their new song as well. It's sick. I've been learning them. I've only just recently, in the last couple of weeks, picked up drums as well, which you can probably see in the background. Just a symbol there, like the electric drum kit. I've been playing a lot of Blink-182. It's been so much fun, particularly when I'm like rendering videos. This computer like just gums up and I can't do anything, so I just turn around and just go nuts on the drums, and then turn back and the video's done. I'm like, sick, burn some calories, and yeah, instead of just twiddling my thumbs doing nothing. Hey Ben, do you remember me? Love Apple Art. So that's on IG. Let me have a look. I'm sure I do. It's hard. Sometimes it's really hard because it's just avatars. I'm just looking at avatars and names. There's no real like faces necessarily to them. Love Apple _ art. Let's have a look. I believe I do. And then you shared one of my stories. Yep. Yeah, thank you for that, by the way, as well. That was really, really nice. How have you been doing? Oh, the artists hate him is also a meme, yeah? Like the ads you see on random websites, yep. Elliot goes to check out new song. The Blink-182 song, I believe it's called Edging. Fantastic, I love it. It's like such a throwback Blink-182. Like it's fantastic, I love it. I wish I could play it. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing like the rest of the Blink-182 band. I've got to do Tom and Mark. That's what was not feeling right So that feels a little bit better, I think. Maybe-ish. Maybe it's too up here. But I think this was implying that it was coming up past this point, so it had to kind of match on this side maybe. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that logic and we'll just run with it. And now I've got no eyebrows. So let's throw those back in there. You can only see a little bit of them maybe here. That'll do. Now I said I'll show you what I'm using this self-portrait for, apart from the Instagram profile. Maybe now's a good time just to take a quick break. Oh. And as I keep painting, it's a compulsion, it's an issue, don't judge me. All right, let's, yeah, I think that's looking a lot better. Before, after, before, after. Yep. I reckon that's looking a lot better. Yep. Happy. And then I was working on the neck, wasn't I? Yeah. Anyway, let's take a couple of minute break. It's good to sort of refresh. At least I like to, because I could keep going for the next 3 hours. I don't think I can do that tonight because I want to get into a somewhat decent sleeping pattern. But we'll take a little bit of a break. I'll check back in the chat if you guys want to ask some questions or just chat and go back and forth. I'll give you a sneak peek of what I'm working on. Random Ferret, what's your opinion on listening to music while making art? I know it's kind of crazy, but I've literally heard other pros mention that you shouldn't be doing so since it makes you just mindlessly paint. What do I think about that? I don't think anyone can say that you should or shouldn't do anything. 1. 2, because what works for some people doesn't work for others, right? So there's that. There is something to be said, particularly in this book. Actually, no, it's on the stack here that's holding up the camera, so I can't grab it right now. I believe it's the Animator's Survival Guide. Maybe, yeah, on one of the pages maybe of the Animator's Survival Guide. There was a teacher on there that was saying don't listen to music because animation, you can't focus enough to be listening to music or listening to anything else while you're doing it, which is a fair argument, I reckon. Sometimes I'll just be completely silent, even white noise, or binaural beats, like white noise, and just go. If I'm trying to concentrate on something, I can tend to do the noodling and just mindlessly paint. But I think that's more of a habit to get into regardless, is to think about what you're painting versus having music on or music off. I think they're kind of separate. It's a habit that you've got to get into regardless of what's going on in the background, right? Earplugs, no earplugs, headphones, songs, whatever. It's just a good sort of frame of mind to be in, regardless. So yeah, I don't think there's any right or wrong in that kind of thing. Any hard rules that someone says, personally, I don't pay any mind to that. Elliot, yeah, one of my fun arty things at the moment is attempting stylized versions of SKZ members, and if I go on to paint them, I'll take your tips from before. Fantastic, that'll be cool. Tag me in it as well if you do post it. It'll be cool to see. How long are you planning to stream? I reckon I'll probably go maybe another, let's say, half hour, something like that, because then at that point it'll probably be 12:30, and I need to get to bed. Benigno Burhan, hi, welcome to the stream. Elliot, my ADHD brain needs music or something like that. Yeah, I like to have something in the background, but sometimes I'll go for hours and just forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not listening to anything. It's weird. Or is this kind of a stream or a podcast, maybe just instrumental music? If you real. Yeah, I personally like a cup of coffee. If I'm like in work mode and I'm just like, yeah, I got to get this done, I'll do like a cup of coffee and some binaural beats and just be like, focus and go. But if I'm more like, I'm gonna have some fun with this and just like relax and still do the work. But if I'm in a certain mood, I might do a podcast. Yeah, or I'll do music. It really depends. There's no hard and fast rules that I've got for that kind of stuff. But all right, I'll give you a sneak peek of what I'm working on. So my other passion is coding and development, right? So I've been working on a blog, building my blog from scratch. So I am going to be launching the blog. Hopefully, the goal is by Sunday, this Sunday. So this is what I'm doing the self-portrait for. Or another thing that I'm doing the self-portrait for, right? So it's going to have allow me to do some like longer form thoughts, the business side of creative, the learning how to learn, notes on bits and pieces of art and that kind of stuff. And it's, yeah, just a different sort of place to share my stuff. So yeah, that's what the one place that this this self-portrait is going to be put in. So yeah, look out for that coming soon. It's been really fun actually, just sort of building it from scratch. But it's been a lot of procrastination because I decided to. I've actually set it up in a way where that I'm not sure if you. I love using something called Obsidian. So there's this app called Obsidian. Right, so it's like my note-taking app now, and it's just based off of what we call markdown files, right? And it allows me to basically write because I write all my notes in this Obsidian program, and I've set it up and I've like sort of coded it in a way that I can write all my blog posts in this Obsidian app, and it's just text files basically, and then that gets pushed to the blog. So every time I save this, I can just push the changes, and they all link together. So different like notes can link to other notes, and you can get some really cool like visualizations here. So this is like my mind map of all the different notes. So I nerd out about this sort of shit, right? Like understanding how all my thoughts have sort of come together and how the notes connect and that kind of thing. So this is one of my favorite apps, Obsidian, if you guys want to check that out, just for just keeping notes on all the art things that you like or any other skills that you're trying to build. So yeah, I just figured out how to make this work with my blog, and that was a big undertaking, like a challenge to get that working. It was kind of procrastination because I could have really just spun up the website and done it a lot faster than building it pretty much from scratch. But yeah, that's what I've been working on in the background. But yeah, I've stripped it right back to what I originally wanted to go out with. And yeah, something different. Can you send a hug to Rishi Sunak and say all the best from India? So Abhishek, am I sending a hug to Rishi from you and say all the best from India? So Abhishek, so hold on. Rishi, Abhishek is sending a hug and all the best from India. No, I think I've read this wrong. My apologies, Abhishek, or am I giving the hug? I'm sending a hug to Rishi. Rishi, you're getting some hugs from someone, from somewhere, me or Abhishek. You're getting a lot of hugs right now. You're welcome. Furley, hey, nice. Thank you, Furley. Mary Jane, that's cool. Thank you, Mary Jane. Random Ferret, the portrait on the bottom right looks like Stan Prokopenko. I got that so much. I'll tell you who it actually is. It's let's, if this is still, if the server's still up. That was Jesse from Breaking Bad, but on my sketch notes. So if I go to my sketch notes, because I got it, I got that so much, like DMs, like on my stories and everything. If I come here in my profile and I go down to the sketch notes that I did, I chucked a cheeky little Easter egg in there. If you caught that one out. So I put him as a bit of a reference, Stan from in one of the episodes of The Draftsman. And then he actually, what was cool, if I can find it here. He did comment somewhere here. He's a good guy. I've had a chat to him. He's really cool. I think he was here, but he commented on it. He was like, he had a little bit of a laugh with it as well. So I thought that was funny. The portrait on the bottom right, yep. I see some of the artists I know also known or have programming background. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think there's something to be said that any sort of creative skill or anything like that, there's oh, hold on. Sorry, my apologies. I'm still here. I just put my screensaver on. Any skill, creative skill, it has a lot of overlap, right? Like program, I get a similar feeling when I'm coding to when I'm drawing, right? You get into like the flow state. I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but like the flow state of like drawing and development and sculpting and music and all sorts of stuff. There's a real overlap with it. I love it. That's amazing. Installing it right now. Yeah, Obsidian's sick. I love Obsidian. Gal, welcome, Gal. Oh, I missed it. What did you miss? What did you miss? Random Ferret. That's funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny. I got so many messages with that. I had to do something. Okay. Let's make a plan. For the next half hour, I'm going to work on the neck and the shirt. I reckon neck and the shirt, because I've got the sort of the face feeling a little bit better. The beard and everything, and a lot of the shapes need to be cleaned up, and maybe that's not something for the next stream. But let's get the torso and the neck up to the level that the face is at the moment. I reckon that's a good plan. We'll see how we get on. All right, let me just have a sip of tea. 12:05. We'll wrap this up at 12:30. 25 minutes. Let's get cracking with it, shall we? Okay. Yep. Feeling better. Let's group duplicate and merge them down, all working on one layer with all my notes and experiments and all. That's fine. Let's stay zoomed out. Let's turn on the recording of the time lapse. Resume. Okay. I just joined the live. Oh no, that's all right. We've still got 25 minutes. Still got 25 minutes, and there's going to be more lives. So no stress. Thanks, Gal. Yeah, we're getting there. Slowly getting there. Now, something that I want to play up is I want the face to be the main focus of this. I don't want these neck muscles to necessarily be competing with the rest of the face. So I can maybe knock down the values a little bit and not have them so bright, let's say, as they might actually be in real life. But you can even see that here in the reference photo, like the neck is even less, being hit less by the, but I mean my hand's covering the neck, so that would affect it, but just something to keep in mind, I guess. So here we're just sort of delineating the line between the skin and the shirt. I'll probably change the colors, to be honest, of these, instead of just having green, like green for the hat and green for the shirt. Let's try and be laser focused with this. Still chat. I'll still be here with a chat if people have questions, or if you guys have any questions. But let's be focused in our thinking with the strokes that we lay down. Flip it. Yeah, that's feeling more cohesive when flipped, so that's a good sign. This could be a spot to play around with the smudge tool if you want to be cheeky. Shows how much I use the smudge tool. Where's the bloody smudge tool? Have they hidden it? Yeah, they've hidden it. Now, a trick with the smudge tool in Photoshop. So we've got the smudge tool selected. What I like to do is add scattering to the smudge tool. Right, so what that does is allows a smoother transition to happen with the smudge itself. Just to knock back any of these sort of scratchy lines. It's not great for blending. It's kind of slow as well, depending on your computer, right, and how zoomed out you are. It gives me it just kind of gives me a little bit of a blank canvas, a less scratchy canvas, let's say. Even do a bit up here. You see how like delayed that is? It's not the best. And that's just my old computer. So it's not the smudge tools problem necessarily. Simona, welcome. How do you use the panel for reference images? Is it external? Is it an external program? Yes, it is. It's called PureRef. This one here, PureRef. You can move it around, have a bunch of different sort of references in there. It's really good. Something I highly recommend. Now, also, I had one of Loish's here as like a stylistic reference, right? Like how she's got really smooth, crisp lines. Once we get to more of the rendering stage, I reckon I'll bring that up. But for now, I just wanted to sort of figure out these shapes Let's see how we go with them. Sorry, this music is doing my head in. I can't be bothered changing it. Okay, let's clean up this shirt. Maybe we do something what I'm wearing now. Like this shirt, you can see there's like even a little bit of a gap in between here. We can like play up a little bit. No worries, Simona. Go check it out if you haven't got it already. It really, really helps. Oh my Lanta, this freaking music, I tell you what. Thank you, it stopped. Okay, here we go. It's just starting to take shape. Slowly but surely. A little bit wobbly here. Let's make a hard line. Let's use the lasso tool. Invert that selection. And then we can really make that hard line. Getting there. Slowly but surely. Flip. Flip. I think this eyelid could go up a little bit more as well. Just ever so slightly. Maybe the white of the eye gets shown a little bit more. And we can add the shadows in there later on, but just to get the graphic shape looking a bit better. Don't hate it. Getting there. All right, back to the shirt. Let's change the color of the shirt. I'm sick of this green color. So this is where color layer modes can come in handy. So let's say we do a color layer mode. We do a blue. I think I need more torso. Maybe that'll make it look a little bit less weird. It makes it look a little bit less weird. How are we looking for time? 2:15. We've got time. Abhishek, what are you most comfortable with for designing characters? A drawing tablet or a display drawing tablet? Question regarding health, eyes, spine, comfort, surviving long hours on a chair. Good question. The tablet I'm using at the moment is actually a display tablet, but I'm using it as just like a normal tablet and just looking straight at the screen. I like that, but if Wacom ever wants to come to the table and do a sponsorship or something, 100% open to their new 27-inch behemoth of a machine. I'd like using that, I think, because then I could sort of have it up here and then maybe start doing that. But at the moment, because this is like a smaller screen, it's like a 15-inch sort of little one. It'll be too, it's almost like the iPad is almost a little bit too, like having my neck down and a little bit too cramped. I still like using the iPad, nothing wrong with it, but for longer stints, this seems better to me, or this feels better to me at least. Maybe we have not a fan of the shirt. This shirt's feeling kind of a little bit weird. That's alright. Trying to get a different scale maybe. Scale it down a tad. Now before we leave, I've got to throw in a little bit of specular highlights. I've got to see how that's looking. Maybe even a cheeky rim light here and there to see what we can get it looking like. So all this lighting at the moment on the face is very diffuse, except for the nose, right? You've got a, whoa, what did I just do? Whew, thank goodness for Control Z, I tell you what. Just had a bloody panic attack, Christ. Yeah, everything's kind of diffuse lighting. So it's like a matte finish, let's say. Then we can come over the top and do more specular highlights here and there. Figure out some... I like thinking about the two separately. I wonder if this could be more of a smoother transition. Let's try. Don't hate it, don't love it. So yeah, 0710. Love that you have a very Peter Parker Spider-Man kind of face. Thank you. I have no say in the kind of face I have, but I appreciate it regardless. That could be interesting. I could throw the Spider-Man mask on there and just be like, ah, it's me. Thanks, Elliot. It's slowly getting there. We got some of these details, like, depends how scruffy I want to make me look. Well, we can put a bloody mustache on me if we want. But we can sort of start refining, just implying some of this detail. If we want to do it more scratchy, I don't know how like detailed I want to get with it just yet. I mean, we could render this up to make it look like it's a 3D rendered character, but yeah, I'm still not sure. Still not entirely sure. Like, I mean, we could do like this painterly, scruffy look. Yeah, we could do this painterly, scruffy look, or we could do like this more graphic, like implied. Kind of, like we could do anything, like all sorts of stuff, but that I reckon that's for another stream. I don't want to be playing around with it too much. We've got it to a point where I'm kind of happy-ish. It's got a very matte finish, which gives us a good base to do whatever we want with it. All right. Clean up some of these shapes in the ear. Oh, I could easily go for another bloody 4 hours, but I need to keep a half decent sleeping pattern. Do you still have the undersketch? Yeah, I do. Yep, I've got it all. There's a separate layer here. So that's what I started with. Actually, this is what I started with. See, the likeness wasn't there. It was just really rough. Yeah, just throwing some lines down, trying to get something going, and then sort of built it up over time and slowly started to get the likeness. And yeah, lots of iterations. started to throw the black and white. See here with the black and white, see how I had like the implied sort of facial hair? I think I might bring that back here instead of having it too like painterly, let's say, with the... Oh, that still works though, having it more like that. Oh, I don't know. Decisions. Let's go with the 3D render. Yeah, look, I'm leaning towards that. I think that would be fun. I think there's a cool middle ground I can go with. We'll experiment. The way you paint is really cool. Thanks, Amy. Rup Narayan Sharma. Apologies for butchering the name. Hey, can you draw live in Procreate? Yeah, I'll do some Procreate sessions for sure. It's all very similar tools that I use. There's nothing in Procreate that I don't think I use anything super specific in Photoshop that I can't use in Procreate. So yeah, definitely. That'd be really good fun. I do enjoy Procreate. Alright, 12:27. I've got a little bit longer because I want to see what some like some rough specular highlights and rim lights might look like. Okay, if that's alright with you guys. Okay, so here we are. We've got our matte finish, or the start of the matte finish. We've got a lot of work still to do on it. Let's say we want to throw some specular highlights on there. We'll do screen. Let's just throw some quick little highlights in the eyes. Don't know if I like those highlights or not. They're a little bit too intense, but we'll just roll with it. Then new layer on top. We'll add some nose shine. I have a pretty shiny nose here. Let's see where this shine would actually go. What we can do, we can put it in strong and then erase it back. No. What is going on here? There we go. Back to, yeah, there's a lot of finessing that's got to be done with this these sort of specular highlights, but just give us an idea to begin with. It's like intense music. It's like bloody specular highlight mode. How can you draw Mega Man music? I've got no idea. I've never played Mega Man. Could be. I've just got Spotify, whatever stream beats playing. So could be. You can also put highlight on the bottom lip for juicy lips. Certainly can. Bam. But my lips aren't that shiny. See, they're pretty matte. So Might knock that down a little bit. See, you can quickly get things looking too shiny. Alright. There's very specific places that I'm looking to put these specular highlights, right? Yeah, and that corner of the eye is really nice. Just throw a bit of that specular highlight in there. Rup. Ben, can you demo a little bit drawing the beard? Maybe. I reckon I'm done drawing the beard for tonight. There's a lot that needs to be done with that, because I still got to figure out what way I want to go with it stylistically. But come back next stream and we will be tackling the beard for sure. I've actually got another plan for this as well. Like, I want to actually have two versions of this. I want to have one version just of me smiling here. I like to have another version of me like looking at my own hand, but then it's kind of like how I draw a sketch note. So it's like everything, the hand's like broken down, and then on the website, when you hover over my face, it like sort of transitions to that. So that's the grand plan. Whether that gets done by Sunday, I don't think it's going to get done by Sunday, so we'll that'll be a work in progress for sure. Some of this. I'm going too finicky with this. This was just meant to be a test. Alright. Enough's enough of the specular highlights. Okay, leave it. Just a little bit on the ear. You can use curves adjustment layer for lighting iteration and use a mask over it. That's what I plan to do actually when I start sort of finalizing stuff. That'll be good fun. Do you think there's a possible future? Sorry. Do you think there's a possible future in getting a job as a digital portrait painter? I really love making portraits. I'm glad you pronounced my name right. Abhishek? You know I pronounce your name right. We'll send you some chocolates. Appreciate you, Abhishek. Do I think there's a possible future in getting a job as a digital portrait painter? I think there's a job opportunities in digital art in the future for all sorts of stuff. I think it would be up to you to build an audience and a following that enjoys your work enough to then make that an ongoing viable solution, because I'm not too sure of just a portrait painter, like a digital portrait painter. You'd have to build up a following, I believe, to make that work, but definitely possible. I'm living proof that that's possible. You get some fans of your work that are willing to pay you to do portrait painting. I don't see why not. Okay, I've got to stop this, or else I'll be here for another 6 hours. All right. Oh, I like that. Just in there. Coming through just the beard a little bit. Just showing maybe a little bit of the shiny chin. Knock it back a tad. We are not trying to finalize the render bend. We are trying to just get a look. Okay, so rim light time. Let's see if we can bring this to life. Gonna have a back rim light. Maybe the back rim light's like this, like a pinky color. But it's gonna be in screen mode. So that'll be hidden. I'm thinking about, even with the rim light, it's not just a line around the edge of the silhouette. I'm thinking about, okay, if there was actually a light, how is that going to affect these forms? Like for example here, now check this out. This is what's cool when you think about the rim light in more of a, like a physical light that's behind. Some of these hairs are just going to be hit. Like if we're going to do this kind of beard, some of those will just be hit just a little bit. And then that just brings a level of realism, like, and believability. Looking for those little opportunities is always a good thing. Even if there's like a little divot in the hat. Alright, that'll catch a little bit of the rim light. Again, this isn't the final, this is just testing. Alright, now let's do another layer screen mode. Alright. Okay, so this nose, my nose, there's a rim light coming this way. This is a way that I can actually bring the nose away from the, like make it stand out from that back cheek. One possible solution. Maybe even, so all these little hairs are going to be hit. Maybe even the side of the mouth there could bring it out a little bit. Yeah, so this isn't super finalized, but it could give me a bit of an idea of how it's heading lighting wise, where I might choose to do certain things. Chanthru. Hello, Ben. Love from India. Appreciate it, Chanthru. Welcome. Dibuja. Hello from Peru, Ben. Literally just discovered you a couple of hours ago with the Stylized character stream. Oh, that's awesome. That's sick. Welcome. You can darken up the background and throw a gradient. Gotta say, Ben, you have a lot of love from India. I know, right? That's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Yeah, let's darken up this background. Darken. Oh, other way. Yeah, that like makes it pop out even more, right? But let's try a different background. So something like that. It's getting there. Getting there. A lot of finessing to do. A lot of work on these shapes. Cleaning up a lot of these edges. This music, I'm sorry guys, I just don't have the energy to change it right now because I'm going to hop off in a sec, but that's okay. Yeah, slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. And I want to keep working on this for another freaking 6 hours, but it's 12:42 here, and I promised myself that I would be getting a half decent sleeping pattern back together. So as he keeps going and keeps trying. Alright, might even quickly throw a bit more color variation in the face. I think there's got to be like a lot of adjustments as well, like it still looks a little bit flat. Like the colors, they're not as punchy as I'd like them. Haha, the name's Gonzalo. My apologies, Gonzalo. Oh, my apologies. Dibuja Comingo means draw with me in Spanish. Gotcha, Gonzalo. I'll remember it for next time. Appreciate you stopping by. Do you use liquify in your process? I try not to. Not really. One, because my computer's so slow that if I try to use it, it'll chug and then it gets really hard to do anything. Nothing against it though. Nothing against using it. Alright, so this neck's going to have some of that. Some of that rim light coming through. Maybe even some of this. Yeah, that's feeling more realistic. That's what it was missing. A little bit of that. A little bit on the shoulder here. We will definitely clean up these forms and shapes. But yeah. I actually like the music. It reminds me of Mega Man and other 8-bit games. Yeah, but there was some intense ones before. I'll tell you what, it was it stressed me out a little bit. That's cool. I know you always mess up the names from that other stream. Yeah, I try my best. But I'll remember for next time. Right, another thing that I like to do as well, probably a crutch of mine, but this is just experiments. This isn't the final. This is just me at the end of the stream, seeing if I can make it look half decent. Color dodge. Shouts out to Ross Draws. Color dodge time. Pew pew. Whatever he does with his color dodge stuff. Sort of that ear because you've got the backlight coming through. Yeah, doesn't look quite right. But then I can knock that back. Just a little bit of that subsurface scattering. All right, let's add a little bit of let's do a color mode, maybe even multiply layer brightness all the way up, so it kind of acts like a color mode, but it does a little bit more. See if we can add in a bit more, a bit more color variation. Maybe a little bit more redness around the eyes, just a touch. Just around the ears, some transitions between the shadows, and we can knock this all back as well. This doesn't have to be how it stays. Alright, looks like I've got a head cold, so we'll knock this back. Maybe even adding a color layer on top. So these are just quick experiments. Yeah, that needs reddening up a little bit. This needs reddening up a little bit. Knock it back. Add another quick layer because I can't help myself. Let's add that shadow underneath the crew neck collar maybe. Yeah, I don't know. This shirt's looking weird for my liking, but it's alright. We will fix it eventually. All right. Alice Draws is turning out amazing. Thank you. Thank you. It's nuts. Like, check this out. From what a little bit of rim light and some of those specular lights can do, you turn all those off, it just goes flat. Like flat as anything. Turn off some of those eye highlights and it's just like a matte finish. I'll actually go back to this and I'll keep tweaking this and refining a lot of this. Not now though, because I need to go to sleep. But I can't help myself. But even like this neck part here, I'll keep refining the matte finish, like the diffuse lighting, because then we can spend all the time with a good foundation layering all these lighting effects on top. Oh, that's not that color mode. Down a little bit, yeah. But cool. Rim lights are the way. Rim lights are the way. That's my motto. I need a t-shirt with that. But cool. That's where I reckon I'm going to leave it. How long was this stream? 3 hours. Not bad. So where did we start? Let's see if we can do a little quick recap of where we started. So let's group this all together. Don't know about that the background as much. Let's play with maybe what, I don't know. We can play around with the background. Might even censor him. Me. What am I going to do? Duplicate that. Let's Let's add this one. To here. No. Oh, that's whatever. We'll just delete that one, it's fine. What's this top one? That top one's nothing. Okay. Let's select all of these, group these, and then we can move it around. Yeah, shapes are feeling okay. Got a bit more work to do. The cap's got to come out a little bit further. But where we started at the beginning of the stream, not there, not there, there. I think that's where we started at the beginning. It was okay. It was getting there, but I think we refined a lot of the shapes, which was the goal. Refined a lot of the shapes, cleaned up our thinking a little bit, got the neck feeling more like a 3D form. And yeah, got to fix up the hat. Got a lot of things to do still on it, but yeah, this is where we're at. Fix the eyes a little bit. Do the flip test. There's still something with this eye here, and we are going to figure that out on the next stream. How's that for a cliffhanger? All right, I'm hanging around for another couple of minutes. If you guys have any questions, Debuja. No, Gonzalo. It does look great. Thanks for showing us your process. It does sound like you need to get to sleep though, and I need to get to work. 9:20 here. You got your responsibilities. You go do what you got to do. Have fun at work. Grafswerg. Hello from Germany. Hello, welcome. Thanks for popping in. Great live session, and thank you, Ben. No worries, Alice. Hopefully see you in the next one. Furley, thanks for the stream. My absolute pleasure. It was a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying these streams. If you want to give us some feedback on what could be better or what you would like to see, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, this is just me trying to get into the habit of streaming. I've got some plans for making these more entertaining, trying different bits and pieces out, trying different segments and those kinds of things. But yeah, hopefully this is somewhat interesting for those that are popping in. And yeah, it's a lot of fun for me. All right, so Signer, lots of love from India. Thank you very much. Got a lot of Indian people coming into the chat. That's awesome. It still blows my mind that we've got all these different people from all over the world just coming to hang out. I have to put a timer on for the next stream. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure when the next stream is. It's probably going to be in the next couple of days. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. At the moment, it's sort of a bit sporadic, but I'll get to when I can figure out a stream schedule. I think we'll stick to that, and then it'll be sort of more of a consistent thing. Constantine, the result looks great. I love the rim light. Thank you. Oh, rim lights are my favorite. They really bring out the character, or just the forms even. Emma Martini, my message is unavailable because I shared my Instagram. That's not a setting that I've done. It could be a default on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to check that out for next stream. I apologize on that one. When's your next stream? Do you have a specific schedule? No, I don't. I don't yet, Gonzalo. I might do it again tomorrow. We'll see how we go. Same time. Then I could perfectly join. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure because I'll either do it similar time, like I'll start at maybe 9, like 8 o'clock Adelaide, Australia time, which is Australian Central Daylight Time, ACDT. Or I'll do it in the afternoon, maybe like 3 p.m. ACDT. I'll sort of flip-flop between those to hopefully get a bunch of different time zones to come and pop in. Yeah, the rim light looks very epic, especially at the beard. Yeah, I love that. Like the beard, like even this light, like I love this. I just get excited about this stuff. You know, it's so silly, but I get excited about it. Where's my pen gone? Where have I put my pen? I'll put it down for a second, and here we are. Whew. Thought I was going crazy there for a second, but yeah, even like this just allows us to see some form. You know what I mean? Like, you've pulled me back in. Damn it. Grafswerg, you've pulled me back in. How dare you? But yeah, like it can really start to show some form, and yeah, looking for these little opportunities. Like even maybe a couple of these little ones can peek through, you know, because it's coming, the light source is coming from this way. Right. And maybe it's just hitting some of these. Right. We can have so much fun with it. I am looking forward to the next stream. Gonzalo, yes, the rim light really made it pop. Yeah, it's you see me do a lot of rim lights. Some may say that I use it as a crutch. I like to think that I don't care because it looks cool. So there you go. I just wrote that I wrote you via Instagram asking for your beautiful course. My IG is the same name here on YouTube. In case you have time to read, will be helpful before buying it. Yeah, of course. I usually check my DMs and comments and that sort of stuff right before I post. Just as a schedule sort of thing to keep on top of the comments and DMs and that kind of stuff. So I'll definitely get to you, Martini, 100%. So no, I love your art style. It's really helpful for me. That's fantastic. I hope you got a little bit out of this stream. Gonzalo, haha, go to sleep. Good night. You don't tell me what to do. I'll stay up for another 3 hours. But yeah, I really do have to. I'm hanging out for a little bit longer just to sort of chill out, wind down. I've got my friend here. You want to hop up? You want to hop up and say hi? You want to hop up? No? No. We got dogs asleep in my room here. Little Shih Tzus, tiny little things. Oh, no, you do want to hop up. Come on. Come up and say hi. No. No? Okay. And then he's going to keep bugging me. Oh. Be out. Yes, I know. Yeah. What are you doing? You want to come up or not? No? You silly thing. But yeah. No, it was a good fun. Good fun stream, but yeah, this is. Let me just write some notes for next stream. I will. There's something going on here. Fix this eye. This eye. What else? Let's clean up neck shapes. Choose better shirt. Lengthen peak. And just make better. There we go. Make these ear forms clearer. I think we can stylize the ear a little bit more. Stylized. Cool. So I've got a bit of a reference to get back to when we come back. Fernanda, hello, love your artwork. Thank you so much. Welcome. Welcome to the end of the stream, unfortunately, but we'll hopefully have you back in the next one. So yeah, your video on core shadow opened my third eye. Yeah, look, I tell you what, it opened my third eye as well. Core shadow is one of those ones where you see a lot just in art books. You see the sphere and you see, okay, I've got to put in a core shadow somewhere. But there's no core shadow without the reflected light. And that's just a big eye-opening, like, poof, just mind-blowing sort of thing. I was like, yep, that's something to remember. Got to think about this, the angle of this hat as well, the cap, make it more consistent. Make cap more consistent, I guess. Consistent. Yeah, I don't know what I mean. Cool, all right. I think that does it for me, everyone. Thank you very much for joining the stream. It was a lot of fun. I really hope you guys can pop back again. I'll be swapping between different projects, right? So I'm not just going to do the self-portrait. I've also got this one that I'm working on. It's just loading. So I'm working on this character at the moment. So I don't know if you're familiar. So here I'll show you to give you some context. Let me just stop the recording here on the time lapse. VR versus reality. This kind of concept that I did a few weeks back. I'm doing another one, but this time it's this style, and she's freaking out. She's got some monster, and then I'm going to do this in kind of like a rendered style, where in this version where she's in VR, it's going to be kind of holographic sort of feel to it, but then you're going to have like a kind of badass, like she's the character in the game and she's just going to town on this monster, right? So or this squid or octopus or kraken or whatever you want to call it. So we'll have some fun, and then I'll just keep sharing what I'm making. So yeah, and I hope you find it interesting, and as I learn new things, I'll try sculpting, I'll try all sorts of stuff. Just gonna have some fun making some interesting stuff, and yeah, hopefully have you along for the ride. Random Ferret, see you next time, Random Ferret. It was great to have you. My absolute pleasure. Cindy, just got in here. Hopefully I can catch the next stream. Oh, bugger. Yeah, hopefully you see you in the next one. Follow us on the Instagram. How old do I sound? Instagram and Twitter. I'll always post in my stories, and I'll do a tweet before I go live as well. So you have a sort of notification or something some indication that I'm going live. Or subscribe here on YouTube. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you can subscribe here on YouTube as well. This is all new to me, so yeah, you can subscribe here, and I think you might get notified, or choose the bell or something. I don't bloody know. You know what to do. You're smart enough. You figure it out. But yeah, Snowfix, it was fun watching you. I really hope to get good at colors watching you. Yeah, I hope you can learn just from watching me. I won't go I want to keep the stream going, so I might not go super deep in depth into like theory and that kind of stuff. I'll leave that for more of the longer form, maybe tutorials or course sort of stuff. But like, I want to sort of keep this fun and keep the stream going. But I'll go off on tangents. I can't help myself. Yeah, I'll explain as best I can the questions that come through. So I hope you can sort of glean something from my process. So. Gonzalo, till next time. If I don't catch you live, I'll definitely be watching the replays. Thanks again. Hope you have a good rest. Appreciate you, Gonzalo. You have a... Are you going to work? Did you just say that you're going to work? It does look great. Get to work, Gonzalo. I'll go to sleep. You get to work, all right? You have a good one. Okay, Snowfix, go shoot before I head off. What's going on? There's a bit of a delay here, so I'm just waiting. The course on your Gumroad, do you give critiques with that course? No, it's just you just purchase the course. But I'm planning on doing a kind of... Oi, stop it. Oi, Ollie, enough. I'm planning on doing a cohort sort of workshop, potentially, like get a number of people in, and we'll sort of go through a proper course with me, critiques and all. Yeah, so that's going to be coming at some point soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but yeah, we'll have some fun with it. But just the Gumroad, it's just what's on the Gumroad. It doesn't have any live critiques or anything like that. Cool. All right, Ollie, enough. Sorry, my dogs are getting restless. It's 1 a.m. I've got to get to sleep. I've got to figure out why they're stressing. What are you doing? He's just scratching the couch. Anyway, maybe you'll meet them in a stream, in the next stream. We'll see how we go. Alrighty. Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate you. I hope you had some fun with this one. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya.